Same thing. The dam seems to be cracking. Black voters are calling out Obama. I mean, left to right. No more worship, no more excuses. And at the same time, your boy Adam Schiff is walking into a legal storm he might not walk out of. And I'm not saying I'm too mad about that one. This isn't the whole story because there are pieces I can't even show you yet. But after what you're about to see, you'll understand why we cannot stop here.
The old jizzle. We're going to touch on this Obama comment that young boys should be in contact with homosexual men at an early age. Not. I've seen the effects of that, where young boys are in close proximity to homosexual men due to their mothers, and they're very confused. They become very effeminate, and it's acceptable by the mothers and the girlfriends. Just being in close proximity to homosexual men confuses young boys. This is why we have women talking about boys are sassy. Well, one of the reasons anyway, that boys these last couple of generations are sassy, and because they introduce them to they homosexual friends and have them in that atmosphere, and they be confused. If you do have a son, I would suggest you don't do that, and I would suggest that you keep them around men, straight men, you know, so they can pick up the traits of masculinity. If not, you won't have a very effeminate young man.
Now, I started with this clip because this is where the break in trust actually starts. You know, when Obama went on TV talking about how young men should interact with homosexual men in order to basically have a newfound perspective on what it is to be a man. Now, they'll pretend this is harmless, but history tells you when powerful people normalize confusing kids, it's part of a long-term plan, okay? And this isn't the last time you see evidence of that pattern. In fact, something else tied to this just dropped. And I'll tell you when we get to the end. Yeah, I'll tell you when we get to the end. Now, listen to this. From worship to outrage, y'all.
Y'all really thought Barack Obama was a good person? You really thought Barack Obama was Jesus Christ, has done no wrong, and wasn't finessing everyone and getting personal advances and all types of exploitations done by being the president of the United States?
That was quick. But for years, they sold you the perfect package. Smiles, speeches, symbolism. But here's the thing. People are starting to remember the backroom deals. Yeah. The personal gains, and the manipulation. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear what Tulsi just confirmed about his role in 2016. Yeah. Tulsi didn't just hint him. He didn't just, make this a hint. She put it on record.
You mentioned, Director, that there's, I guess, deep state actors who are still trying to prevent the truth from coming out. What do you mean by that?
There are still people, won't surprise you, within the intelligence community who don't want this information to see the light of day. Some of them may be implicated in the crafting of it. Others are concerned about people being embarrassed. Others are concerned about accountability and what else we will discover as we continue down this path towards the truth and bringing about accountability for the American people. That's really what this is all about and why it does such a disservice. I was standing there in the White House press briefing room and hearing some of these crazy questions being asked by members of the media who are trying to distract and deflect away from the historic expose that we have brought forward that once again puts into question the American people's ability to trust the integrity of our democratic republic. And the reason why that is, and it's similar to the deep state actors who have been trying to stop us from releasing this, is that we have members of the media who were complicit in this from the very beginning, who were leaked early copies of this, or at least lines from this January 2017 Obama manufactured intelligence assessment they printed what they were fed. People like Ellen Nakashima from the Washington Post, who, by the way, went on to win a Pulitzer Prize because for years she was so good at lying and not telling the truth to the American people that they gave her an award for it. These people are still here. Ellen Nakashima is still harassing people who work within the intelligence community who are calling up and reporting her, using burner phones to try to ask them harassing questions. There are a lot of deep state actors still here within Washington. President Trump wants us to find the truth. I want to find the truth. The American people deserve the truth, and they deserve accountability, which is why I'm really glad to see that Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice announced the creation of a strike force team today, specifically to get after all the intelligence and evidence that we have gathered. We have more coming, and to determine the path forward to bring about that accountability.
We forward to hearing from.
Now, the intel community is still protecting Obama from what they call a manufactured Russia assessment in 2016. And the names involved, not all of them are public yet. I've seen one that shocked me, though, and I'll be watching for when it drops so we can cover it before the media sanitizes it. And if you thought the operation stopped after Trump got elected, then you're wrong.
Well, Obama and Holder gerrymandered brutally across the country in this decade's census. They actually even got into Florida, and I had to veto the legislature's map, and I ended up proposing one which was a much fairer map and much better. California is gerrymandered. They have a commission, but that's a ruse. They have Democrats on the commission, liberal independents, and liberal Republicans. And so their map now is gerrymandered, and Gavin wants to do it even more. Well, Obama and Holder gerrymandered.
This was a coast-to-coast strategy to lock in power for decades. And here's the wild part. They tried it in Florida and got stopped cold. Yeah, it got stopped, dead in its tracks. That tells me this wasn't a Democrat versus Republican game. This was an Obama machine project in Florida, was just one tile on the board, so to speak. There's more to the board, and I'll show you. Because while all that's brewing, Adam Schiff's name just got dropped in this bombshell, y'all.
17 that the congenital liar Adam Schiff had authorized leaking classified information to smear President Trump, which, by the way, could be a violation of the Espionage Act. Here with more on this breaking report, the editor-in-chief, founder, chief investigative reporter, justthenews.com, John Solomon. This is a big story, and this is a Democratic whistleblower, and there might be other Democrats implicated as well, like Kinzinger.
Yeah, well, one of the guys that's in here is Eric Swalwell. Now, that is secondhand information from the whistleblower, but the whistleblower actually attended a meeting with Adam Schiff when he was ranking member. Yeah.
I stand corrected. It was. They both hate Trump, so I kind of mix them up.
Yeah, they all merge together these days. Listen, this whistleblower literally sat in a meeting, he tells the FBI, where Adam Schiff authorized the leaking of classified secrets to dirty up Donald Trump and to try to build towards either a select committee in Congress or a special prosecutor. This whistleblower was a career intelligence officer. He had worked for the House Intelligence Committee, Democrat staff for a dozen years when he came forward to the FBI. He gave 4 interviews. He gave very specific information to the FBI, and nothing happened. Why? Because the Justice Department simply decided to take a pass. How many times have we sat around in the last decade and heard, we're going to get to the bottom of that classified leak, and then a few months later, we couldn't get to the bottom of that classified leak. Yeah. In the case of Adam Schiff, they got to the bottom of some classified leaks, but the Justice Department chose not to act. So tonight, past attorney generals, people like Merrick Garland and Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein, who was acting on Russiagate, they've got some serious questions answered. Did they know about this Adam Schiff stuff? Why did they allow it to be passed on? And will anything happen in the current Justice Department?
And tonight, breaking news and new developments as the...
Whew! A Democrat whistleblower says Schiff himself approved classified leaks to smear Trump. This is like, I'm not going to say act like we didn't know this. If you're truly surprised, please let me know in the comments so we can go, really? You know, that's not just bending the rules, right? That's crossing a line you don't come back from. And when you see who's investigating him, you know why the swamp is suddenly quiet. Because that investigator is none other than Janine Hero.
Adam Schiff. Today, there was an FBI 302 that has now been declassified by Cashapp. It's gone to Congress, and it's about Adam Schiff leaking classified information. It's a whistleblower from his office, and the documents are here and they're public. And Brett Tolman is saying, well, you listen, you know, only the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. can make a decision on a case like this. And so my question is open-ended. Have you reviewed these documents? Are you familiar with the Adam Schiff's and the criminal conspiracy to leak against President Trump? Do you plan on investigating?
You know what, Benny? I think you know that this is my wheelhouse. And the difference between me and some other people is that I don't talk about what I'm investigating. I don't talk about what I'm doing. When I have the evidence, when I have enough to go forward, you will hear from me loud and clear.
Adam Schiff.
I know that's right.
Today.
Now, she's not campaigning. She's case building. And here's a hint. She's done this before. And the people she went after didn't see it coming until the cuffs were actually on. Boom. Now, I want you to hear the stakes.
Every American would say, yeah, absolutely, you shouldn't leak classified information. We don't want that to be something that you can do or get away with. Or if there's a temptation to do that and get paid for it, then the penalties should be very severe. So can you talk me through, like, what would the penalties look like for an average individual leaking classified information?
Yeah, I mean, the fine is up to $250,000 for every leak that's charged. So it depends on the counts in the indictment. Also, keep in mind, some of the punishment hinges on the purpose that the classified leak or the possession of classified documentation illegally. So the purpose becomes very important. If you'll recall, Comey, when he said no prosecutor would prosecute Hillary Clinton for having classified information, I mean, it was just an outright lie. But there was always this question, this debate. What was the purpose of it? Was it just sloppiness? Same with Joe Biden. Was it sloppiness that he had all of these, that he used the classified documents to write his memoirs? Was there anything truly nefarious about it? And there was some analysis of Donald Trump. But with President Trump, it was just, you had him, we're going to go after you because that's how we're going to apply the law. But in reality, you have to look at the purpose to see whether or not there are aggravating factors. Here, I believe this was, in essence, the beginning of a conspiracy to take down a president, to impact his ability to lead. There are other statutes, conspiracy statutes, interference with, official proceedings, et cetera. There's question. A lot of people have question about treason. Is it treason? You probably don't satisfy the elements for treason, but there are some related crimes that could come into play. And if you found that the individual was doing it in an effort to undermine the United States, you're looking at potential penalties of up to 20 years in federal prison.
Sheesh, 20 years? $250,000 per week? That's not censor territory. That's in your career in the federal sale territory right there, y'all. And I have a feeling the whistleblower didn't give the FBI everything yet. And just to make sure nothing gets buried.
You know what, Benny? I think you know that this is my wheelhouse. And the difference between me and some
Oh, wow. I don't know why I ended up playing this one twice. We already spoke on this, You know she's taking it personally, which means the clock is ticking and Schiff knows it. There's another name in those documents. One I'm betting will come out in the next wave. My apologies. But because I need y'all to remember who y'all dealing with. All right? This is the guy.
In which The Russians offered help, which we know they did. The campaign accepted help, which we know they did. The Russians then delivered help, which we know they did.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
The case is more than that, and I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. So,
you've said on more than one occasion that you've seen ample evidence of the Trump campaign's Russia collusion. Last March, you said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia.
I've certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion.
Can you agree that there has been no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy that has been presented thus far between the Trump campaign and Russia?
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy.
but we do know this. The Russians offered help. The campaign accepted help. The Russians gave help, and the president made full use of that help. And that is pretty damning. Reviewing the evidence that I have, in which...
Yeah. Years of lies, media tours, evidence that never existed. Now imagine what happens when the people who believed him realize it might have all been built on classified leaks. So, here's what I'm leaving you all for now. Black voters flipping on Obama. You got the deep state that's shielding him. You got Schiff staring down federal prison right now. I know he's looking like, And there's still names in these files that haven't dropped yet. The moment they do, team think, you will hear it first. Y'all be safe. Please go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.